I'm Sarah Maclay. I'll be reading a few poems from two books, Whore and The White Bride. A crescendo of rain. Tonight, I don't resent the party sounds at the end of the street, but I am wrong about the iris. It has no stamen, which you prove by splaying me apart, as if I'm made of legs, made of petals. I am made of leggy petals, and you grasp them. The flannel-clouded sky, a white quilt, gathered and twisted, the whole sky a bed. An apricot, so ripe it falls apart in my hand. It's splitting, not so much as splitting, as a falling open. Even blue, the sky is full of rain, the pavement sweats. I learned to suck nourishment from your flat ocean breast. Deep spring piano, glass, lightning, a rumor of thunder, as though the curtains had moved in the wind. A rumor of thunder, the sage, the feather, the guava, the rain, and the period blood release all at once. A mourning dove is moaning something I no longer know. Wind is blowing a flag of begonias. Wind is blowing the white gladiolas. Ocean of salt, ocean of roses. Grill. As if through glass, through windows in a cafe, in the afternoon or early evening in June or November, month like a fetish of gray, a month of water hanging on to itself until it drizzles, a month of dulled light. He is seen for a moment, accidentally, between appointments, in the middle of errands, walking down steps, the cement steps, say, of an old bank, old enough for granite, for columns, pulling his keys out of his pocket or gripping the small black remote that replaces keys, which you can't hear the sound of behind all this glass, and approaching his car so that for an instant you see his face unguarded, or as unguarded as you will see it, and you try to memorize it, but it's too fleeting, so that now only the back of his head and maybe the veins in his arms that you memorized before, the way his fingers go, his shirt. Or the waiter comes. The waiter comes by and asks if you've decided. The waiter comes by and asks if you've made up your mind. But this is the opposite of confession. This is a poem that began when I was writing a business letter, and I couldn't remember whether I should use whoever or whomever. So I got out the dictionary, and it was a real, actual, live, physical dictionary. And I started to go through the WHO words, and I fell across this word, whore. It comes from whore in Old English, hora in Old Norwegian. But the Latin references charity. At the root is charis, dear, as in hello whore, hello dear, as in loved one, sweetheart, precious, as in rare, therefore expensive, dear, cher, chérie, a luxury when given freely, pitting charity against law. The next poem is a persona poem. that begins with an epilogue from Anne Boleyn. Apparently she wrote it in the last week of her life. I have heard that the executioner is very good, and I have a little neck. Anne B. to Henry VIII. I've seen the way you look at her across the room. I've seen her raise her hand to touch her cheek. I've seen her blush. I've seen those gray-green eyes, the skin below her neck, the undisguised surprise. My dear, I know the signs. I know your tendency will be to part to other quarters while the deed is done. Take pleasure in your lady's love. Avoid. Here's what I require of you. While my head is bleeding, take me by the hair. Take me to that bowling green that you and I have often walked, and sprinkle me across the grass like Christmas. Roll my head across the lawn until it hits each pin. Pick me up then by the mouth, your fingers that so often slid between my lips once more made moist. Look at this face, this face. Imagine then the sword has simply done what I myself have thought to do. You know, my dear, that she and I have long been friends. You do remember. I'll dress for you, as always, in my red below the fur. I hear there'll be no coffin. You're so kind. But just a box that once held arrows, like the ones you gave me, with the bow that made such sound. Fitting, I suppose, only too small. So please take care to place my head into my hands once you are done. It turns out that I'm reading on September 11th, 2008. And so I thought I would read a poem, the first poem I was really able to write after September 11th, 2001. Wasn't able to write anything for a few weeks, and then one night after going to a reading at the LA County Museum, I walked out and looked up at the sky and began prayer to the moon. O moon, hanging in the blank sky like a single ornament, as though you had no weight, curved like a eucalyptus leaf, lucid as a coin. O moon, a reflection that does not blind, giving off your sliver of light, as the thin screen of day narrows to a blue line. A curtain sails in the last wind, and darkness falls across the ground exhausted, a shadow, quietly drained of human form, seeping into the dirt, into the small fingers of grass, and rising then into the trees, a few small sparrows taking flight as night uncoils its deep agave glove. O moon, honey in the sky, watch over us, even as we pause, suddenly fragile, suddenly kind. Thank you.